producing and development and screenwriting, but we have a number of our students that make short films and have won quite a few awards as well, in documentaries as well as fictional shorts. And some of them are now moving into features, so we're very proud of them.
Now, there is chapter 12 that is called, So You Want to Start a Film Festival. Please talk about it, Monika.
Oh yeah, yes. It's like when I got involved with Big Bear 13 years ago, there was a couple who created and founded the film festival, and I got in touch with them to see if I can participate with it, and so they said, come on board and be the programming, or not the programming, but to program student films. And I looked around a few months later, and I see that who's programming the features and the docs and everything else, so I became the programming director. And so I've been there right from the get-go, and the most important thing is volunteers. I mean, the festival is as good as their volunteers, and so volunteering for a film festival is like one of the best ways to meet people, and especially if you're new to a town, it's great to volunteer. Sponsorship is major for the film festivals, you know, in order to survive, and getting, you know, support from your county, support from your city, you know, all of that is so important to create a film festival.
Now, do people look at your festival and say, oh, they only take films that relate to XYZ subject?
No, I mean, each film festival will have their own niche, you know, and we are, with the Big Bear Film Festival, we are an independent film festival, so 99% of the films that are submitted to the Big Bear Film Festival are considered, and so they could come from, you know, like somebody in, you know, in any small town, you know, as long as it's good. And it goes through a screening process where there's anywhere from 5 to 8 other volunteers who watch these films and rate these films, and the best of the bunch are the ones that get considered to go into the film festival.
Speaking of 5 to 10 volunteers, you better have 5 to 10 DVDs of your film when you are submitting it.
Yeah. Again, film festivals vary. We at Big Bear, I require 2 DVDs. You know, that way we've got them going on, you know, with other, and now a lot of film festivals, even without a box, you can now opt to have this system where you stream your video to the programmers.
Yeah, it's actually becoming, DVDs are going to be obsolete soon as well, because with the new technology, and the fast pace of the internet, you can actually privately, you know, with a password, have your films online and have your programming directors go right there and view them, or your screeners. Because you know what Monika was saying about the screeners, the volunteers end up screening these movies, and the ones that get the higher scores get kicked up a notch and are then submitted to the jurors. And one of the things that we strongly suggest to our readers and any filmmaker out there is that they look and see who's behind these festivals. Who are the jurors? Who attends the festival, because Big Bear, I've always described Big Bear as a mini Telluride. It's not far from Los Angeles. It's a fun destination. It's very filmmaker friendly, not because I know Monika programs the festival or that I've been a juror for it. I feel it's the kind of festival that, especially for a beginner in particular, but also a seasoned vet, they all come and have a good time, and they actually get to converse with major filmmakers there because of the people behind the scenes.
That's the last line. Get a chance to talk to the real filmmakers. How do you get a star to show up?
Well,
maybe they're in a film.
Last year Stephen Tobolarski was very generous and came up to the film festival and gave the filmmakers a lot of time, as did Michael Giacchino, who's a composer, a film composer, and John Bailey, who's a cinematographer. I mean, they just gave so much time to the filmmakers, you know, and it's great for them, the filmmakers, you know, to be able to, you know, ask them any kind of questions.
Well, one of the things that happens too, that's another thing, the educational component of a film festival. Most film festivals, not all, but most will actually have an educational component, which there will be seminars and workshops with major people. So part of the thing that Big Bear does so well is every year they've actually given an achievement award to a cinematographer or a director or an art director, a production designer, I should say, really, and as well as some actors. But you know, it's not, even the actor is not that important to a filmmaker, because filmmakers actually want to hang around with Laszlo Kovacs, may he rest in peace, or Vilmos Zsigmond, and those guys have all been up to the Big Bear Film Festival. They have a morning breakfast in which everybody can just sit there, and it's very laid back, and talk to each other. And those guys love talking to young filmmakers.
I mean, we have there's two major film festivals, you know, in the next week is Los Angeles Film Festival, and then the week after that is the Palm Springs Shorts Fest, and that's one of the major short film festivals, you know, around the country. And,
certainly in the West Coast,
yeah.
And in the book, it seems that I saw pictures of Rona and one of Monika on a film festival. We're in Bangkok.
Yes, we went to Bangkok. We were actually flown in to do some workshops and moderate some panels for the Bangkok Film Festival a couple of years back, and that was actually a very interesting experience. We were there with Roger Corman and Deepa Mehta, who's a wonderful filmmaker who's Indian but from Canada, who's done wonderful films, and Catherine Deneuve, and all of you know, it was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
Let's talk too about filling out that form for a festival.
Yeah, the call to entry form.
The entry form.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put in all the information, your logline, your genre, all your cast and crew information on this form, and that's the form. I mean, you can do it online, like Without a Box, it's done online, but some film festivals will have a hard copy that you fill out, and then you submit that along with, you know, whatever 2 copies of the DVD to the film festival, whatever is required by the festival.
And that's one thing you need to really look at and see is if, you know, what does the festival require?
I mean, all festivals have guidelines, submission guidelines, and so
they're
it's
not all the
important
same, and that's the most important thing. They're not all the same.
Oh,
So
they're not.
No, you have to really look at their guidelines and
How
see
do
what
they
they
differ?
require. Well, some will require more DVDs, some will want to just look at them online, some will not, you know, they don't care about the press kit right away, so forth and so on. There's, you know, but you should be prepared from the get-go to have all of this available at your
It's all
fingertips.
part of the targeting film festivals and checking the guidelines.
Yeah.
And, you know, just being prepared and knowing what you're.
I mean, we started to talk about a little bit earlier about some festivals require premieres. We had a friend, and I think we talk about it in the book, who had a wonderful film, and she wanted to get into Berlin, which is one of the top-tier film festivals. It's a wonderful festival, and thought that it wasn't going to get in, so she accepted another festival, and in turn she realized that she gave away her premiere status in Europe for another festival when she could have had it in Berlin. So Berlin required a premiere status.
Yeah.
So you have to understand, and also what kind of premiere status. Is it world premiere, international premiere, regional premiere?
I never knew
West
of those.
Coast, East Coast.
East Coast, I mean, you know, whatever the premiere is. But you need to know that when you strategize, you know, these require these kinds of premieres, these require this, and then these don't require any premieres.
Yeah.
So those are ones I can submit to even after.
I mean, so it's like, for instance, right now, even with Big Bear, I mean, today's the final deadline to submit films, but I'm probably not going to get the films that are going to be, a lot of filmmakers are probably holding off on their films to submit to a film festival like Big Bear because they're submitting to Sundance. You know, they want to try to get into Sundance. And so, you know, I won't see those films until probably next year.
Yeah. What film did you see in Cannes that you think is great?
Beasts of the Southern Wild. Beasts of the Southern Wild, yeah.
Hope you got that
I
right.
hope I get that one right.
Which is about what?
It's a piece that takes place in Louisiana, and it's about this coming of age story with this young girl and this area in Louisiana. And
Did you see that film that won with Louise Trinjadon?
I did not.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it that hard when you go to a festival, yes, to get tickets?
Can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, even at Cannes, I mean, you can, you know, even though, you know, you have a pass to get into all these films, I mean, you could still be standing out there, you know, waiting to get into one of the screenings.
Yeah.
You know, just like Sundance.
But in Sundance, that's where you actually meet people. When you're standing in line, and the person next to you is like an agent or a manager or a distribution exec or a producer or whatever, and you start talking and kibitzing a bit, and all of a sudden you're having drinks with them later. And you start running into the same people at these festivals over and over again. It's kind of amazing. It's a very intense experience.
Are there tours, I mean, are there companies that specialize in sort of hand-holding you as you go?
It depends on what you mean by that. There are sales agents. If you've hired a sales agent to represent your film, for example, there's a good chance that they will have a suite in which distributors and stuff they can meet with, and posters and promotional material and so forth. And probably if you arrive there, they're going to want to get you to be in certain red carpet experiences. But there's actually, hey, what a good idea.
No, I've always thought that was a good idea
what a
for,
good
for,
idea.
for Big Bear or any kind of resort, resort-oriented, kind of film festival. Whether it's Santa Barbara, Big Bear, Palm Springs. I think that it would be a great way to, mingle and watch films and see a certain area.
And listen, maybe one of those filmmakers can talk someone into investing.
Exactly.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's definitely one of the goals, I think. I think if you just focus only on the film you have in the festival, you're going to be missing out as far as the opportunities of what else you can do at a film festival.
Yeah.
I think Monika brought up something interesting about the experience of being at a film festival is about promoting yourself, your film, your company if you have one, networking with those people that could help your career that may be interested. We also talk about in the book about a producer who had a film that wasn't even in the Cannes Film Festival but did get a screening, and Roger Ebert just happened to go see this film. He wasn't part of the film festival, and he loved the film so much he said, why isn't this one in the Cannes Film Festival? It's a great film and it's not even in the Cannes Film Festival. And they had to actually rework their whole PR strategy after he made that statement around what he said.
Isn't there one, too, you wrote about that was at Sundance that became a big hit, and it hadn't been accepted even into their schedule?
Right, I think that was the one at Cannes.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the one at Cannes. I don't think it was Sundance. But we do interview a number of filmmakers about their experiences at all the film festivals and what they recommend and their advice and what they've learned. Because ultimately, I mean, we have attended film festivals for many, many years, whether Monika's programmed them or I've been on juries or competitions or panels or moderated, whatever. The fact of the matter is, these filmmakers have gone through the trenches as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had films in festivals, so has Monika.
Come back another time.
Oh,
I
you're
love
out of time
talking
already?
about it.
Oh, my God.
Will
Oh,
you
sure.
autograph my book?
Our pleasure, for
And
sure.
if you'd like to know what else we've been reading, visit me on the web, www.conniemartinson.com. We'll tell you about some other books we've liked. You can read our columns from the Beverly Hills Courier, and you can even link in to YouTube, because a show like this will be on in a few weeks. Whenever you're watching this, it may already be there for you to see again and make your notes, because this is a book to make notes on, and hope that you too will have a film to take to a festival. Support your local library. Go in, read their other book. I liked it but didn't love it. You will also learn a great deal about films. But you want to go to a film festival? This is the book. It has all the answers you need, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.